Welcome back. Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa's proposal to move Eskom from the Department of Public Enterprises to the Ministry of Energy being met with mixed reactions. The ANC's conference adopted a resolution which specifies that state-owned companies operating in specific economic sectors should be overseen by the relevant government departments. That means Eskom and Transnet would have to move. But would this actually lead to an improvement in Eskom's performance? Well, the head of the Department of Science and Innovation's Energy Secretariat at Renewable, Professor Sampson Mamphweli, joins us now. Professor Mamphweli, good evening to you and thank you for your time. Will Eskom be moved to the Department of Energy? Will that have any real impact on its direction and how it operates?
Good evening to you and the viewers. From the planning alignment point of view, that particular decision makes sense because you will recall that there was a time when the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy made a determination, a ministerial determination, and procured about 27 projects, IPP projects, and then Eskom, I think it was around 2015 or so, refused to sign the contracts for those particular projects. That kind of a situation creates some policy uncertainty, and it happens because of the misalignment. So if you look at it from that point of view, to have these SOEs under line departments that are relevant, it may be a good move. However, as part of the operationalization of that particular resolution, government may want to first look at the various aspects around the feasibility of having the companies like Eskom under the line departments that are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So because Eskom is governed by the Companies Act, there's a whole lot of processes that need to unfold with the shareholder taking the decision and the Eskom board making a concurrent decision as well. But I would like to believe that government will still look more into the feasibility of moving particularly Eskom to the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. At this point in time, we can't answer your question on whether it will improve things or not. What I can say is that because the planning and the procurement of renewable energy or basically the new generation capacity happens at the Department of Energy, it makes sense for Eskom to be within that particular department. Whether that is feasible or not is a question for another day.
Minister Gwede Mantashe, of course, is the minister of that department, and his critics have accused him of defending coal and of being against renewable electricity. He denies that, as I understand it. He would now have political authority over Eskom, right? Would that change? Would that have an impact on Eskom's future direction?
Yeah, so I look at this decision from the point of view that it was taken by the ANC delegates and not necessarily taken by Minister Mantashe himself. I've had several engagements with Minister Mantashe on various aspects around energy. And I think for me, the main thing is not the individual who is involved at the department, because if you listen to Minister Mantashe talking to people in the coal sector or in the fossil fuels sector, you would then tell them that fossil fuels are here to stay and all that. And then on the other hand, when he talks to the people in the renewable sector, he will tell them that, look, we are going to have bid window 5, bid window 6, up until bid window 10. So I get a feeling that the minister himself is not necessarily an advocate for a particular technology. He may be spending a lot of time talking about various technologies. For instance, I was part of the ANC's dialogue on economic transformation on the energy side, and I spent some time with him. We had some interesting discussions around these issues, and one of the questions that he asked during the dialogue, which he directed to us as the expert, was, you guys should tell me, is it possible for us to have 100% renewable energy in our grid. And I responded partly to that question by saying that we're not advocating for 100% renewable energy. We're advocating for proper planning and implementation of the IRP, which is the country's plan, which is the plan that he's the custodian of. So the minister may say this or that in the public domain, but when it comes to the planning part and the implementation part, he listens to the experts and he follows what the integrated resource plan says, which is why I say, for me, it's not about the individual. It boils down to planning, and the minister can say this or that, but in the end, he will have to implement a plan that we would have agreed on, which is the integrated resource plan, which the ANC also agreed that it should be the country's plan going forward, and they expressed concerns around, the revision of that particular plan within 2 years, and all that, saying that maybe that could bring in some policy uncertainty. And some of us indicated that no, it doesn't bring in policy uncertainty, because the revisions are basically because the technologies, the cost of generation for various technologies has gone down, so it needs to be revised to be in line with the cost of generation for the various technologies. So I don't think that it's time for any alarm to be raised at this particular point in time. The resolution is still going to be processed. In the end, government may see the resolution as not being feasible, or they may have already seen it as being feasible because the president has already announced it. But it boils down to planning, and whoever looks after Eskom, it becomes a cabinet kind of a process, because cabinet takes the decision, they prepare the documentation and present to cabinet, and then cabinet takes the decision.
Professor Sampson Mamphweli, thank you so much, Head of the Department of Science and Innovation's Energy Secretariat at the South African National Energy Institute.